From a contestant gaslighting the judges to completely copying another contestant's dish,
spring onions, also some bruised tomato.
here are chefs who actually lied and got caught instantly in Masterchef. Starting with season 13's Richie, who forgot there would be cameras everywhere on a reality cooking show. There was a lot of pressure on music producer Richie Jones after he narrowly missed elimination during the first week in season 13. His dish was lackluster and described as just toppings by the judges. Richie knew he had to raise the bar for the next challenge, which was the Apple Mystery Box.
And on the heels of Richie's dessert from last week, man, he's got some redemption to do. He may be in a real bad position.
But halfway through the challenge, the judges started to get worried about his dish. Richie took longer than he should to put his cupcakes in the oven, and when he did, they came out dense, like they hadn't risen at all. Confused, Richie started going over the ingredient list in his head, and that's when he realized he was missing baking powder, a key ingredient in his food prep.
My cupcakes didn't rise. I'm running out of time and there's not much I can do to save them at this point. And then I realized I'm missing baking powder.
At this point, there wasn't much he could do, and instead of owning up to it, he decided to lie to the judges about the dish. When his name was called up in the bottom 3 dishes of the night, Richie said he'd made home cakes instead of cupcakes.
Home cakes.
Home cakes. Didn't you start calling them cupcakes? Did they become home cakes as they lost their levitation?
No, they are a play on my grandmother's recipe.
But why did you change from where you started to where you ended? What you call them?
I just wanted to call them what they are.
Richie lied and said that his plan had always been to make home cakes, an homage to his late grandmother. The contestant then doubled down on his lie and said that he wanted them to be dense on purpose because that's exactly what his grandmother's home cakes were supposed to be like.
I'm using the black Arkansas apple and I'm doing a honey spice cupcake with an apple filling on top and a tarragon whipped cream.
Then when it came down to deciding who was leaving the competition, the judges couldn't see past the fact that he had lied to them. In the end, he left the competition, not just because he had the worst dish of the night, but also because he couldn't own up to the truth.
I preferred he'd owned it in a way that, look, I didn't pivot, I got the batter wrong.
The only thing that was worse than the dish is his lying to us. I hate being lied to.
But not everyone who presents the wrong dish on MasterChef does it on purpose, like Richie. In this next case, Tyler presented someone else's dish as his own. Season 4 winner Luca Manfei and MasterChef Junior winner Alexander made a surprise return for Season 5 to set the challenge in Episode 6 of the competition. The contestants had to recreate either Luca's pancetta wrapped veal or Alexander's passion fruit panna cotta. Tyler Vyers ended up with a panna cotta.
Last but not least, Tyler.
Elizabeth picked me to do the panna cotta. I'm actually kind of excited.
Jamie Vitolo was also making the panna cotta for the challenge. The deceivingly simple dish needs time to set in the blast chiller, so Jamie put a tray of 3 ramekins in the blast chiller. Then halfway through the challenge, she realized someone had taken 1, leaving her with only 2 ramekins.
I originally put in 3 panna cottas, and as I pull my tray out, there's only 2 here.
Neither of Jamie's remaining 2 ramekins had set, and she didn't have any time left to make a third. Everyone was so busy figuring out their dishes that they didn't react much to the missing ramekin. But Gordon couldn't stop thinking about it. Meanwhile, Tyler's making his dish, not realizing he'd made an error that would cost him the competition. He'd taken Jamie's missing ramekin. When it came time to taste the contestants' dishes, Jamie wasn't happy.
Jamie.
I wish I still had my 3rd ramekin. I mean, my 3rd one was my safety net, but it went missing.
Graham called the dish really good pudding, but this wasn't a pudding challenge. The only thing that could save her was if someone had a worse dish.
The flavor's great, so I guess the one thing is seeing who else out here, performed at this level or lower.
I'm downright embarrassed right now. This is a nightmare.
Then, when it came time to taste Tyler's dish, Gordon made a shock announcement that for the first time in MasterChef history, someone had presented a dish that they didn't make themselves.
So sorry to tell you that someone has brought us a dish that they did not cook.
Gordon paused the competition, went back to the blast chiller, and pulled out a tray. Immediately, Tyler recognized those were his ramekins. No one could believe what was happening, and that's when Gordon announced the error. Tyler thought he put his tray on the top shelf, while in reality, they were actually on the bottom shelf.
I put my ramekins on the top shelf, and I don't know if they got switched. I don't know,
Okay.
Chef.
You didn't. They're on the bottom shelf, bottom left-hand side.
Tyler had served Jamie's panna cotta.
You served us Jamie's panna cotta.
I had no clue.
Gordon believed it was an honest mistake. Masterchef contestants operate in a high-pressure situation, so with only seconds left on the clock, Tyler accidentally picked a ramekin from the wrong tray.
For the record, I 100% believe you.
The chef.
I think you panicked. I think you ran in there with seconds to go and grabbed somebody else's dish.
They couldn't judge him for Jamie's dish, and they couldn't try his panna cotta either, because it had been setting in the blast chiller after time was called. His panna cotta definitely would have been set. It would have given Tyler an unfair advantage. But this was a competition first, and no one knew what would happen next. But the judges had to make a decision, and unfortunately, they decided that Tyler would be eliminated.
Tyler, I am so sorry, but your journey is going to end tonight.
The contestant accepted their decision with grace and even turned around to apologize to Jamie for the mistake.
I'm sorry that you grabbed mine.
And hey, at least if they would have tasted it, it would have tasted pretty damn good. So, thank you.
Was it an honest mistake, or did Tyler cheat on purpose, hoping that he wouldn't get caught? That's been an ongoing debate in the online MasterChef community for years. And while there are several people on his side, I think it was a genuine mistake. He was a nice guy and was rushing. He also may have forgotten where he put his ramekins. He sounded genuinely apologetic when Gordon confronted him. He even thought that it was completely fair that he was disqualified. Others think he cheated and just got caught. It was on purpose. If you put 3 or 4 ramekins in on a tray, why would you only grab one out of the blast chiller, which happened to be the baker in the competition's panna cotta? Yep, Tyler the scammer. While fans agree to disagree on whether Tyler cheated or not, everyone agrees that Mario Montecuolo definitely broke the rules. Season 7 of MasterChef Australia started off with a surprise announcement by Gary Megan. Instead of the usual 24 contestants standing in front of him, there were only 23. Gary then announced that Mario Montecuolo, who had secured an apron during the auditions round, would not be appearing in the competition.
Before we get going though, you may have noticed that there's someone missing. The guidelines for MasterChef are very specific with regard to previous experience.
The show's rules state that contestants should be amateurs who have not worked in a professional kitchen for more than 6 weeks in the past 15 years. However, Mario decided to lie about his experience. Unfortunately for him, the producers found out about his lie in an article in Hospitality magazine that described him as the head chef of Anmore Bar. Mario initially told producers that the article had misrepresented him as a chef when the bar only served bar snacks. Mario thought he met the requirements, but he later came up to the producers himself with a shocking confession.
Since the judges' auditions, Mario has told us that he does not fulfill those guidelines.
According to executive producer Margie Bashfield, Mario reviewed the rules after the incident and came clean himself, admitting that he used to work at a professional kitchen 7 or 8 years ago. This meant an immediate disqualification from the competition. Mario stated that he never meant to deceive anyone. He said, "I am so passionate about food, I got carried away without realizing what I've done in the past would be considered too much." The judges then called back Jessica Spivey to replace Mario's spot as she fell short in the audition round before, and this time, however, she ended up placing 7th overall in the competition.
The next in line for the white apron, Jesse.
Mario was disqualified before the competition even began. Meanwhile, Andrea Galan was disqualified long after she proved she was a serious contender, all because of poor timing. The elimination challenge was to create a gourmet sausage in a bun. Judge Christina reminded everyone that at the end of the 60 minutes, contestants had to bring their dishes up to the front. Everyone said they understood, and the clock started counting down 60 minutes. Andrea was making a bratwurst with beer butter, caramelized onions, and a currywurst ketchup on a pretzel roll. It's as complicated as it sounds. But she was sure she could make it in time. As the clock counted down, she was still searing the sausage with only 1 minute remaining. With just seconds left, the dish had not been plated, and when time was called, she had still not reached the front with her completed presentation.
Andrea, you've got to be down here.
Oh, I did not even...
4, 3, 2, 1, and stop.
She didn't make it.
Andrea said that she was so focused on getting her dish perfect that she forgot to bring it up to the front.
I was so focused on getting my sausage in a bun perfect that I completely forgot to walk to the front.
She was 3 seconds behind everyone else by the time she did make it to the tasting table. Still, Gordon tried her dish and said it was so delicious he'd want it in his own cookbook.
That's it. Great recipe. I think that's going to be one in my book. Really good job.
Thank you, Chef.
Delicious.
Thank you.
Wow.
Meanwhile, another contestant, Diamond, had a sausage that was raw in the middle. While everyone assumed that Diamond would be the one going home, the judges made a shocking announcement.
Andrea, we were forced to watch the last 10 seconds and sadly did not adhere to that rule.
The decision was controversial. Some fans believed Andrea was unfairly disqualified, saying, "Yeah, them eliminating Andrea got me to quit watching season 7 for a while. There were many challenges where the cooks did not have to bring their dishes up to the front within the time limit. So to all of a sudden have it be this die-hard rule is stupid. She was clearly one of the best chefs there too, so the whole thing was just super rage-inducing." Unlike Andrea, Matt didn't forget the rules of the competition. He just thought he'd get away with cheating.
Matt, you made a mistake.
2 weeks into Season 3 of Masterchef Australia, Channel 10 announced that they disqualified an early favorite, Matt Meyer. The 24-year-old IT professional was accused of cheating through the competition, although Matt claimed that that wasn't the case.
You know, it wasn't to cheat, it wasn't to sort of have one up over the other contestants.
Masterchef contestants are restricted to 10-minute phone calls with their families every week, and while at the Masterchef house, they're not allowed to access cell phones or any electronic devices. According to producers, this is to keep the competition fair. Contestants shouldn't have access to recipes or cooking techniques, as even their journals and cookbooks are confiscated ahead of the competition. Matt broke the rules by smuggling a phone into the Masterchef house.
The fairest thing is you to make an honorable exit from the competition.
By the time producers had found the hidden cell phone, they'd already filmed 6 weeks worth of episodes. Matt apologized and claimed that he brought the cell phone in because he missed his girlfriend and wanted to stay in contact with her.
Just been really struggling because I was missing my girlfriend.
Days later, he revealed the real reason for breaking the rules. In 2004, Matt's mother, Julie Beyer, went missing after she was last seen packing her car, ready to move from New South Wales to Queensland. To this day, no one has been able to locate either Julie or her vehicle. Matt claimed that he was in a particularly vulnerable place with Mother's Day coming up, so he wanted to have his phone close to him, hoping someone might find new information surrounding his mother's case.
Like that's, you know, a pretty full-on sort of thing, and just, you know, it was coming up towards Mother's Day and like my mum's birthday and everything, and it was just sort of like all at once. So I just wasn't, you know, feeling particularly great, and just sort of wanted that, like a little bit of...
But rules are rules, and Matt became the first contestant in MasterChef history to be disqualified from the competition. He was replaced by Billy Law, who was the last eliminated contestant. Well, there's more to the story though. Kinda sad how they qualified him. TLDR, he wanted to contact his girlfriend because a lot was going on in his life. His mom had been missing for 7 years, and they were investigating a possible death, so he wanted to be in contact with his loved ones. While having a phone meant an immediate disqualification for Matt Beyer, there was a time when MasterChef Australia allowed contestants to have their phones, and it backfired. From the Curtis Stone Banquet Challenge.
Can we get the smaller of the two salmon?
Smaller one, yeah. I think this is beautiful.
I think it's absolutely beautiful.
Make sure he's clear. Yeah, good eyes.
To the Wedding Meal Team Challenge.
You got to sit on that half. It's split in half. Yeah. Fish, beef. So you pie.
Season 3's self-proclaimed meat beast was always the first one to be picked for team challenges for 2 reasons: his exceptional cooking skills.
It's a pretty amazing feeling actually to get validation from guys like that. Doesn't get any better.
And his luck when it came to winning team challenges.
Well done. I thought you were going to lose it. There was that bit at the beginning where it wasn't working well, and then you know what? It just slotted into this routine and you were pumping that food out, and so well done.
He went on to place 3rd overall in the competition, with many fans believing he was robbed of the title. But a few weeks after filming Wrap, someone close to Chris claimed that he had been cheating throughout the competition. Gemma Pritchard, Chris's ex-girlfriend, claimed that he would text her ahead of team challenges, asking her to pre-order ingredients for upcoming challenges from Coles supermarkets. The order is said to have saved them precious time during the 15 minutes they had in the store. She said, "At the time, I thought I was giving my partner emotional support, and I think just just about anybody would have done the same thing. I wish I hadn't. And yes, I do feel incredibly guilty about it. While producers made sure no one had access to cell phones in later seasons, they allowed Season 1 contestants to use their phones halfway through the competition. They were only allowed to talk to loved ones and not use their devices to gain an unfair edge. Chris denied using his cell phone to cheat when a reporter sat down to ask him about it, but fans believe he should be held responsible. Season 1, Chris Bednock allegedly had his girlfriend order niche meat kits at the store the show was using at the time, so that when the contestants had to go shopping, the things he wanted would be there. His shtick was nose-to-tail cookery. While Chris didn't end up winning the title and had to fight off controversy from his time at the competition, he did gain something out of the experience. Chris married his Season 1 co-star Julia Jenkins, who placed 5th in the competition. Together, they own a restaurant, Josie Bones. The judges were unaware of Chris's cheating while he was in the competition, but there was a time when Masterchef US judge Gordon Ramsay caught contestant Felix Fang openly breaking the rules. Episode 7 kicked off with the top 14 contestants being woken up at 3:30 in the morning for a surprise team challenge. The contestants were told that they'd have to cook the breakfast menu for all 130 guests staying at the hotel, and not everyone was thrilled with the idea of it.
People are hungry and they're in a hurry.
I am not what you call a morning person, and breakfast is the last thing I want to make right now.
Christine and Josh had the winning dishes in the last challenge and were made team captains. Christine's first pick for the red team was Flex, a 24-year-old food runner from Hollywood.
Good. I think Felix is a strong team worker, but she also has initiative, and I think that's important to have on a team.
Not only was she Christine's first pick, but she was also the red team's expediter for the challenge.
Christine picked me as the expediter for her team. I'm a food runner, so I feel completely confident doing that.
Things quickly started to fall apart when Felix completely shut down right when the first few orders were being called. The red team was falling behind the challenge, and it had only just begun.
Felix, you're the only one that can expedite. We need to get these plates out. We have a server here waiting for the food.
The pressure in this kitchen is insane.
Gordon had to step in and remind Felix what her role in the kitchen was and how she was sinking her team.
Right, Felix,
Yes.
Felix,
Yes.
Felix.
Yes.
An expediter needs to talk. And for the last 5 minutes, you've just shut down and there's no communication going on. You have got to talk to your team.
The problems didn't just stop there. Gordon realized that Felix had started cutting corners when the red team ran out of hollandaise sauce. Instead of smothering the eggs with the sauce, she started drizzling it on top.
Felix,
Yes.
Felix, that's not good enough. Eggs Benedict gets nappade and the egg gets covered with hollandaise.
Okay.
This is not a dessert with chocolate sauce.
Things finally came to a head when Gordon realized Felix might be cheating. Once time was called, both teams had to stop whatever they were doing and no more dishes could be sent out. Still, Felix tried to pull a fast one and continued to put food on trays. Gordon decided enough was enough and told Felix that he would have her disqualified.
Put it down. Do you want to get disqualified?
No, I don't.
Okay, so you're taking food out. I've already said stop.
Huh?
I've just told you time is up.
I'm sorry.
No, look at me. No cheating.
Felix knew that if the red team lost the challenge, she'd be the one on the chopping block.
This is so much harder than I thought it was gonna be. I wish that I was better organized, that I could have done a better job telling everyone what to do instead of trying to do everything on my own.
Luckily, the red team managed to secure 60% of the vote and won the challenge, saving Felix from elimination. Felix and everyone else on this list were contestants who tried to bend the rules. Well, what happens when a professional chef decides to play dirty? Episode 43 started off with Sarah, Eliza, and Alois going head-to-head for a chance to fight for the immunity pin. The challenge was divided into 2 parts. Sarah had the best dish out of the 3 Masterchef contestants, but to win the immunity pin, she had to go up against professional chef Ben Devlin.
Generally not too bad. Hopefully move pretty quick. Hopefully mentally nimble, and yeah, see how we go.
Sarah had an advantage coming into the challenge. The judges allowed her to pick the core ingredients for the challenge, so she went with prawns and shrimp paste, her goal being to create a Malaysian-inspired dish.
I see the ingredients. I definitely think that there is one pair standing out, and it's the prawns and shrimp paste.
While things started off rocky, Sarah quickly bounced back and regained momentum. She started growing more and more confident in her dish, thinking she might even win the challenge after all.
I feel like I'm actually acting a bit more professionally. I'm working a little bit cleaner, a little bit faster. I've got better ideas, a better vision.
Sarah's plan was to grill the prawns, highlighting their smoky flavor. She was also going to highlight her Malaysian roots through her cooking technique, calling it a piece of herself on the plate.
So you're going to cook the prawns here?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I want that smoky, charred flavour. It reminds me of home. It reminds me of Malaysia, and it's a little bit of who I am on the plate.
Meanwhile, Ben didn't really know how he'd cook his prawns.
So at this point, I've got the prawns cleaned from the brine, but what I don't really know is exactly how I'm going to present them and how I'm going to cook them. At work, I'll usually scorch the outside, a wood fire grill, get a little bit of the smoky charred flavor.
He eventually decided on pan frying his prawns, but while his pan was heating up, he crossed over to see what Sarah was doing. Ben saw her grilling her prawns and immediately exclaimed, "That's a great idea, I'm going to do that."
It's a good idea.
Don't steal this idea.
No, I'm going to do that. It's a cracker.
Did you see that?
Realistically, no one could stop Ben from using the same cooking technique as Sarah, so it all came down to taste. While the judges loved Sarah's dish, calling it the best dish she's presented in the competition so far, Ben ultimately won the challenge by 1 point.
I really felt that I brought my A game. So to miss out by 1 point, it's a little heartbreaking, but I've got to be proud with 27 out of 30. That's incredible.
Sarah lost out on the immunity pin, and while she was a good sport about it, the internet was enraged over the outcome. Wow, Masterchef Australia, you just allowed a professional chef to cheat, steal the contestant's idea, and then win by 1 point. Shame on you. The judges are unfair. Sarah should win. George, you are in bed with Ben. Hashtag MasterChef AU. MasterChef AU, Sarah got ripped off. He cheated by copying the cook method. Takes 2 points off. Hashtag poor form.